Hi guys, my name is Sharon and thank you so much for stopping by this channel. Today guys, I'm going to be doing a video, just a quick one while I do my work, because sometimes that's why I don't do videos, because I've got so much to do around the house and I don't have time to sit down and do a chit chat. And today I've got the kids again at home, so I'm just going to tackle this mound. So I'm just going to do that while I talk to you. Yeah, basically I had this dream and in this dream a few things happened, but what I wanted to highlight was what came to my mind. In this dream, I quoted the Bible verse. If you look at a man with lust in your heart, that's adultery. So I remember quoting that verse in my dream. So obviously upon waking, I had to just go on, read more into it. And, it just made me think, like, that is a crazy thought to actually think about. And what is adultery in your heart? So obviously adultery is kind of stepping outside your marriage. That's basically what it is. So here in Matthew 5, I think it's Matthew 5:28, it says in there, let me just quickly read it as I've got it. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And if your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. And then it goes on to say it's better for someone to go into heaven with one arm, one limb missing. So that's quite a challenging thought, because how many of us, because I'm just thinking even on Instagram, when you see like a photo of a good-looking woman, man, on the comments like, oh, I know what I'd like to do to him. Oh, I wish I could have him for a night. Oh, I wish I could have her for a night. Oh, I could slap or whatever goes on in your mind. That is being lustful. Oh, hello, darling. So we just have to be very, very careful of what goes on in our minds. And I remember, like, for me, like when I was younger, like when I used to go to church, I don't know why, I think a lot of people have had this. I'll just be looking at, listen to the word pastor or whatever, and you just imagine, oh, what would you look like naked? Like, it's just a thing. Not like I was imagining, like I fancied him. This was like when I was young as a teenager. You just have like, like when people used to say, oh, if you don't want, like when you're performing, just look straight and just imagine everyone naked. That I think if anyone was a performer, you understand what I mean. So it was just kind of that thing where a thought will come in my mind, and then I'm like, where did that come from? So it's that kind of thing where I'm not saying that in a sense is adultery, because sometimes, like a thought just pops in your mind and you can't help that. But if you are actually envisioning and actually lustfully thinking of these things, towards the other person that you may find attractive, who probably is good looking, or you have a soft spot for that person, and you're looking at them in a sexual manner, but whether you're married or not, that is still committing adultery, because that is lust, and lust obviously is a sin. So obviously you haven't committed the actual act and actually going the full hog and stepping out and actually sleeping with that person. But the thought, God sees that as adultery. So it's just a challenge for all of us to be watchful of what we think, because obviously it shows that God really cares about every single area of our heart, of our lives, and to ensure that there is nothing in our minds that is contrary to his word that may contaminate us, because those things, even though they are thoughts, sometimes thoughts can come to fruition and actually actualize in real life. So when you have those thoughts, immediately cast it down, immediately say no. If you're married, immediately say no, I am not going to look at another man, I'm not going to look at another woman lustfully. I have eyes only for my husband, I have eyes only for my wife, and continue to do that. I was actually thinking about this because the enemy is very crafty, especially like when you've had a argument with your partner or whatever, you go out the next day, boom, you bump into, let's say you're arguing about finances, you'll bump into somebody that's got the nicest car, has got all the money, is like, I'm going to Paris next week, do you want to come with me? And in your mind you're starting to imagine, like, wow, oh my gosh, look at this. And the enemy knows what we want. So, let's say you're arguing about communication with your partner. He'll bring someone that will listen to you attentively. So I just say that to you to say these thoughts they start off as thoughts. And if you don't quickly recognize it and cast it down and say, no, I should only think of pure things, things that are holy, things that are lovely, things that are honorable, and cast those imaginations down, you can find yourself down a rabbit hole. And obviously, even if you may not go and, let's say, act on those things that you imagine, God still sees that as not good. Do you see what I mean? So I think definitely God wanted to highlight this, because I do believe there are a few people that do that, and they think that it's not a sin because they're not actually acting out on it. I just wanted to come on here and just say to you, are you committing adultery without even knowing it? Because if we really look at it, we probably are, to be honest. Just examine your mind, examine what you think. Everything that we do in the physical starts within the heart, starts within what you hold and harbor in your heart. So let's just be mindful of that as we walk this path with Christ, because we're not going to be super perfect. Yes, things will come into our minds, thoughts will pop in our minds, but it's what you do what you do afterwards. Are you recognizing it and saying, Lord, I don't know where that came from. Please cleanse me, wash my, cleanse my heart, cleanse my mind, help me to think of those things that are pure. And you know what? I think the more we stay in the word, the more we will not even get tempted or even think about things like that. You will immediately just, before it comes out of your mouth or you think these things, your spirit just won't let you. So the advice is just to stay in the word, can stay in prayer as well, because when you're in prayer, there is no way the enemy can infiltrate you. He may try and tempt you, but you are already armored up. So and just keep watchful, keep prayerful. Keep in prayer mode in your mind, in your heart, being prayerful, being close to God, because the enemy is prowling, looking for whom he can devour. And I think God wanted me to focus on the adultery, because there is a lot of marriages, even in the church, not just outside of the church, in the church, that are affected by, adultery. And I can guarantee you it didn't just go physical. It started in the mind. It started what you think. And yes, I think I'm going to do a whole nother video on marriage as well, because that is something I'm really, really passionate about, because God has really done a great work in my marriage, and he still is, to be honest, he still is. I'm going to do like a much more in-depth video, like a separate video on that. Let us be mindful of what we're thinking, and if any thought that doesn't seem like it's from the Lord comes into play, quickly cast it down, quickly pray about it, ask God to cleanse your mind and your heart, so that whatever you think and do is pleasing to him. So yeah, guys, I pray you have a great day. And if you are struggling in that area, first you need to cultivate that relationship with God, so that you know that when God is speaking to you, and when you read the word as it is. Don't try and say something that it doesn't. If it says do not lust, do not look at another woman, you don't try and make excuses like, well, it's just looking, it's no harm. But if it says so in the word, then why do we try and find little loopholes to just continue in sin? So if the Bible says it, just don't do it. Just don't do it, because those things are there to keep us safe. They're there to guide us in the right path. Let me know what you think of that verse. I know sometimes some verses just seem very extreme, but I think when you walk in the Spirit, it makes sense. And